Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. I am your host, Jason JRock Houston, and we have two members of the band, Kings of Karma. Now, I got to tell you guys, I should say we got lead singer Chris Gates, and we also got John Barry, who I understand, John, you handle the
Joe.
bass, the guitar, and the vocals as well. So, quite a list of duties there, huh, John?
Yeah, it's Joe, by the way.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're totally cool, brother.
Just read the name. Thanks for correcting us. That's always important to get the name right, right? Okay, so I got to tell you guys, I got to ask you this right off the bat because I know over my years of doing this, one of the hardest things when you're in a band is to come up with the name. And when I got the press release on the band, that's the first thing that really, before I even listened to any of the music, that's the thing that really stood out to me. I mean, what a cool name!
Thanks, man.
How did you come up with that?
To be honest, and it doesn't have a cool backstory, but we actually had a good friend that we used to play with that kind of thought of the name and donated it to us, and we're like, hey, we'll
Okay,
take it.
it just has a, I mean, it has a kind of cool, it rolls off the tongue, cool sound to me. It may be simple and it's not maybe a great backstory, but you know what? Um, you love to be the king of anything, first of all. And karma, that's a word that could go either way. People are always talking about, karma will get you, but, karma could be a good thing. It just kind of depends on your perspective, I guess.
Yeah, we definitely agree. We're big advocates of karma, so it's kind of why we like the name. It kind of just fit how we are personally, and then just thinking of a good rock and roll name, like you said, it just kind of rolled off the tongue. Like it's perfect.
Simple,
Let's
not
do
too
it.
not too complicated. Now, where are you guys based out of?
Southern California, Temecula, California, in
Oh, okay.
particular.
I'm in Long Beach, so that's pretty cool.
Eh,
Now, let me ask you guys, how long has the band been together?
Well, that one's a better backstory. So Chris and I have been playing music together for, going on 20 years. And we've been in a couple different bands together. And at one point we decided to start a whole new group. And that's when we had our buddy came up with the name, and we've been doing this group now for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year.
So, is it safe to say, since you guys have been playing together so long, that you're kind of the core of the band, or is everybody kind of other guys in the band, are they equally involved with the songwriting?
no, Joe and I are like the Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the group.
It's funny to hear you say that, Chris, because in prepping for the interview last night, I went on your YouTube page. I was listening to some of the uh, tunes, and that's actually one of the things that I wrote down. Let's see. I was listening to the song Sugar Mama, and this is what I wrote: great hard rock music that goes pop. They could be the next Rolling Stones. Actually, I put they could be the American Rolling Stones.
I
Yeah.
like
I'll
that.
take it.
Thank you. That's a big compliment.
And we love that song. Joe and I worked hard on that song. It's a funny song. I mean, you could definitely, when you read the lyrics, it's definitely the comical effect. Definitely, and it's a true story, so I think that's what makes it funnier.
Yeah, and without even having to get into the story, the cool thing about it is, like you said, it's just pretty much all these songs. They've got great hooks. I think that's what makes it's just all around kind of good time music infused with a little bit of blues.
And that was the direction. I mean, we definitely want to be able to sell records, so you
You have
gotta
to have the pop element
you
to
gotta
it.
stay true to yourself, but you also gotta be smart commercially on how you write hooks,
Yeah,
what kind of lyrics, catchy. So our producer is a very talented songwriter and producer, so he has the ear, but we all, when we were especially working on that song, we all really thought about the formula and putting together a very good commercial hit song, to put on the
it's
radio.
funny you say that too, Chris, because that's another thing I wrote down that it's kind of it's rock music that goes pop. Not that it's like real pop infused or anything like that, but pretty much saying they got great hooks, and pretty much any of these songs I think could be played on the radio. They're very kind of commercial sounding.
That's what we worked hard on. I mean, we love groove, man. Everybody loves groove. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is or what genre, as long as you got that beat that people can dance to or move their head to, you sold them. It doesn't
And
matter.
we're like really in sync because Another song I was listening to last night, Good, Bad, and Ugly. This is what I wrote. 80s rock influence, sounds different from other tunes, has a bit of a groove running through the song.
Joe's responsible for that song. That's his baby.
Let's talk about that, Joe. That's a good one because the fact that it is, a lot of other tunes kind of sound like that they fit on the same album. This sounds a little different. Um, so I dig that just as you think that this band has one particular sound, you kind of take this over here and you add another flavor.
We try. I mean, because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, including the Stones, but like I've always been a big fan of rock and roll, and all the albums that I love, like Exile on Main Street and Sticky Fingers and the White Album and stuff like that. It's them, it's rock and roll, but you could tell there's lots of influences,
Sure,
and rock
sure.
and roll has more in. There's a lot of types of rock and roll, so
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
folk, country, blues, R&B, soul. It, all of it can go into rock and roll, and so I think listening to those kind of albums growing up and being inspired as a songwriter, that's why if you listen to the album, there is like Gummy Bears and Cigarettes, it's kind of like a little bit more of a psychedelic country
yeah, yeah.
rock tune. And then you got the really heavy Aerosmith kind of power things, and then you got the Black Crowes kind of
Sure,
ballad.
sure.
It's all rock and roll, but it's all the elements of rock and roll that make an album an experience from start to finish.
Yeah, we've been talking, a little bit about the Rolling Stones, so far, and you even look at a band like the Stones. Typically, people describe them, as yeah, great British rock. But like you're saying, you look at a band like them, probably as metal as the Stones ever got would be maybe like a song like "Bitch." That's
Yeah.
kind of out of their wheelhouse. And
And yeah,
yeah, and while people talk about the Rolling Stones, every band kind of has its when their sweet spot, their era. I mean, for a lot of those great classic Stones, it's fans, it's the 1970s. But the fact that in the 1980s, like they could put out an album like Steel Wheels, and they're still relevant, they're still just as popular as ever. That kind of is what you guys are talking about. We can do it all.
yeah. I mean, let's talk about their new album, Hackney Diamonds. It was fucking brilliant.
There
You
you
know what I
go.
mean?
Yeah,
And not
yeah.
and not having a Stones album for like over 18 years, and then they come out with that. It's because they worked with the best producer around right now, who I'm a huge fan of, Mr. Andrew Watt. He's the one that's resurrecting everyone's careers right now. He did Ozzy's with the last two records. He just did Elton John's. He just did the Stones and won Best Rock Album of the Year at the Grammys. This guy's on fire,
How did you
and
guys hook up with him?
I'm trying.
Yeah,
I
okay.
write him every day saying,
Yeah,
"Hey
yeah,
man,
I
let's
see, I see,
meet."
I see. I misunderstood that. Okay, but yeah, and if you guys are kind of the Mick and the Keith of the band, I hope you guys have as long of a career because you know a lot of our heroes. You mentioned Ozzy and some other ones. Ace Frehley recently are kind of
Yeah,
dropping, and but yeah, Mick and Keith and the rest of the guys in the Stones, they've only lost one member, two members to death, but Keith and Mick, Mick's had like two heart attacks. He's still up there, rocking and rolling. So you got to give him credit.
dude, I got to see him. Me and my wife just saw them last summer at SoFi, and that was my second time seeing them. And it's just amazing. The guy's like 82 years old, and immediately the moment the show starts, it's not like they need to warm up or anything. He comes out just
Yeah,
fucking Mick Keith, or I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
Mick Jagger, and just starts going for it. I mean, there's no stopping. But the guy's in incredible shape. I mean, part of his contract, no matter where they go, he brings his choreographer and his trainer with him. And in his contract, everywhere they go, they have to set up a running track for Mick so he
Oh
could run.
wow, wow,
So
it
then the
amazing.
guy's in incredible shape. But I mean, it's worth the money because that guy works so hard to make sure he gives us an incredible show every night.
And so Joe, I was curious because that's kind of interesting that you have a guy in the band that plays bass and guitar. I mean, how did that all fall on you?
Well, just in the studio primarily. When we play
Oh,
live, I only do vocals and play bass. But in the studio, if I come up with an idea or if I have a lick or something, then I have free reign to go in there and lay it down.
so do you guys
So
both do you guys both sing lead or do you do like the backgrounds, Joe?
Yeah, I'm a background vocalist.
I mean,
I do
there's
harmonies.
there's on our first album, Chemical Sunset, the very last song, I Don't Mind. He actually sings the lead on it. Kind of like how Keith Richards always gets like one song on each
Or
album where
Tom
he sings the
Peterson of
lead.
Cheap Trick, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, we're the singers and we harmonize. We write all the harmonies and everything. But um, hearing us live, it's fantastic.
And so let me ask you, Chris. I was curious: have you always been a singer all your life, or did you start out playing the guitar or any other instruments?
You know, it's funny. No, I've been a singer since day one. When I was 9 years old, I discovered the Beatles, and that was it for me. That's what I've been doing every day, hustling since for the last, uh, you
That's
know.
kind of funny because I mean, a, a lot of people I talk to, no matter their age, the Beatles is one of those bands they always come to. You obviously weren't around when the Beatles were um, were popular,
Unfortunately,
but the fact is, there's no denying what great musicians and songwriters all four of those guys were, and the fact that you guys are your age and you kind of again you can't deny the talent of the Beatles, you know.
you can't. I mean, they're the whole reason why we're even talking right now. They're my main influence above all. Um, but I've been singing since I was 9, and what I would do, because my mom was a really talented singer, so she made sure that I kept my shit together on being a good singer and singing properly. But I would sit in my room for hours right in front of my stereo with one ear, just picking out the harmonies and learning how to sing harmony and how to pick things out on Beatles songs.
Oh,
And even
cool.
him, when I
Yeah,
got him to start singing, I would tell him all the time, like, I know you don't listen to the Beatles all the time, but I'm telling you, if you really want to learn to be a good singer, they're a perfect band to like start learning harmonies and like how to match and everything. It's there, even as when people try to get vocal coaching from me, I tell them the same thing. Go home, learn Beatles songs, and really pick out harmonies. They're the perfect band to do that with.
yeah. And while we're on the subject of the Beatles, you know, for anybody out there that questions anything we're saying about what great songwriters they are, anybody listening to this that thinks "Helter Skelter" is a Motley Crue song, I got news for you. That was about as metal as the Beatles got, but that was a Beatles song.
Technically, it was like the first metal song ever created in '68 off the White Album. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to say the Beatles are the godfathers of metal, but
They have. I mean, but again, it's just that that's showing you how talented those guys are. That they kind of went outside their norm, and yet, you know, years later, this big LA metal band covers it, and they put their stamp on it to the point that a lot of people think that's actually a Motley Crue song. You
yeah.
know, yeah, but that's just the way of the world now. So I was curious, Chris, as you're coming up as a singer and you're doing your practicing the Beatles and all your favorite songs. Did you ever sing like in church, in the church choir? Any?
Ugh. So, so I grew up in the church. Uh, my parents were super dedicated. My mom was a really good Christian musician, so she was in a good band that recorded records and did touring and all that. So I was around, band rehearsals and stuff with incredible musicians. But when I was a kid, I thought it was boring and I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You know
I
what?
guess we could say I did sing in church a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. The reason I asked is, believe it or not, a lot of guys I've interviewed over years, that's actually, especially the guys that are singers, that's what they would tell me is, oh, when I was younger, I sang in the church choir, and that's kind of what hooked me. Everybody has a different story, but you're so right because I mean, I so wish back in the day I could have seen Striper like rocking it up in a church. Could you
Mm,
imagine? I mean, that would have been the ultimate kind of
right.
church service. Yeah,
Right? I
yeah,
wish
yeah.
church was that cool when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, because see that's kind of my experience with church. Not to offend anybody, but the ones I've been to have been kind of just on city. But again, I've been to some. And then I've been to some other services where they just had a gospel and everybody's up on their feet. It just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, have you guys had a chance to perform much live?
Oh, we perform constantly every weekend, and it's very rare we have a day off.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and so what was that like, Chris? When did you get to the point? How old were you when you not only wanted to start singing. I mean, when you started, like a lot of people, you're singing other people's music, but what was the minute when you kind of had that, haha, I want to do my own original, I want to start writing my own songs?
I would say around like 10 years old, because I was heavily listening to the Beatles at the time. That was like my first big like breakthrough, and got my first guitar. I learned a bunch of stuff, and then I would say about 10, 11 years old, I was like writing my first songs and really trying the whole
Oh,
songwriter thing. But I have I have been performing in bands live in front of people since 14. I'm
oh wow.
35 now. I've never taken a break since.
And let me ask you, when you started doing it at 14, did you have that immediate drive, like the minute you hit the stage, like you were in for it, or did you have initial nerves when you're just kind of first learning how to do it?
Oh no, I mean I definitely think, very first performance ever, 2004 was December 4th was my very first live performance with the group, and immediately the moment we all started playing that you got the bug. No, it just didn't stop ever since.
And I imagine, because it's one thing, to be in a rehearsal with your band and stuff, but to play that very first gig, that's something you'll always remember. And I'm also sure that very first time when you hit the stage with the band, it's immediate to you. You're like, okay, I'm the front man. All eyes are pretty much on me. I got to communicate with the audience. I got to stay on key. I got to worry about singing the lyrics, but all eyes are on me.
That goes through my head every fucking performance, even to this day. Like, make sure you're singing right. Don't fuck up, don't fuck up the lyrics if in case people are singing with you, those definitely go that all goes through my head every time I'm performing. So, I mean, we work hard. We do rehearsals. We make sure we want to be the best sounding group around. So we really care about sound, tones,
Yeah.
hitting out all the marks and entertaining people. You could be the best musician in the world, but you don't want to just stand there and be boring just
Oh,
because you're
sure,
good at
sure. Yeah.
guitar. There's a checklist of elements that make you that great band to go see, and so we really work hard every day trying to check all those things off.
And so let me ask you, Joe, when you're up on stage with him and you see that he's like delivering the goods and your other bandmates up there, you're like, I gotta get on my game too, right?
Yeah, first thing I think is don't fuck this up.
Well, and our lead guitarist Jacob Simon, he's a maniac on stage. His energy level is so crazy, and he's just all over the place, not missing any notes and stuff. And sometimes we'll look at Jacob, I'm like, oh shit, man, he's going super hard. We got to fucking match that. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. And so, Joe, let me ask you. Obviously, you and Chris have been playing together for years. What do you remember about meeting him for the first time? Like, when was the moment you knew, okay, this guy's, he's got talent, or we got some chemistry here.
Well, we started our first band when we were 16 in high school,
Yeah.
and that was cool for a little while, and then it fizzled out like, most bands do at that age. And after high school, we lost contact for a couple years, and then we ended up seeing each other again at a party that he was in a band at the time that they were playing.
I just joined a group that hired me to do touring and all that.
And he was playing bass and doing backup vocals, but he wants to play guitar, so he hit me up. He's like, hey, why don't you come play bass for us? And then I ended
Yeah.
up auditioning, getting the slot, and ever since then we've been playing music for
We've had tons of members. We've been in different groups, but every time that happens, me and him just sit there and go, "Well, we want to keep playing together, so
It's
fuck
like
everybody else. Let's
Yeah.
just let's just start something new."
Yep.
yeah, it's like Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. They're the two like main members of Kiss. They've been together for 50 years. They've been side by side. They
That's
keep
gonna
coming
be
back.
us.
Yeah, yeah. For better or worse. Now, Chris, that's kind of funny, interesting part of the story is that you guys kind of lost touch, and then you just by coincidence run into each other at a party. I mean, and you're starting a new band at that time, which I'm sure at that time you're a loyal band and everything. But did you have that immediate like kinship running into Joe that night, and like, did you know immediately? You know what? I think Phrase the new band is, I think I want to get back with Joe.
Well, the funny thing with that was, I think it was like the year after we graduated high school, and
Oh,
everybody had like come home for that summer. You know how it is that
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah,
year in
yeah,
college. And I had a girlfriend that just like broke up with me, and so I was feeling sorry for myself and staying at home. And
yeah.
my buddies were like, "Hey, man, there's a party tonight. Let's go." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go." And they're like, "Come on, let's get you out of the house. Let's go." So I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So I get there, and I had just joined that band, but I was playing. It was a three-piece, so I was having to play bass and vocals.
Oh,
And I
okay.
told the guys in the band, I'm like, "Dude, I can play bass, but like I hate playing bass. Like that's not my thing. I'm a guitar player and a piano player." And he goes, "That's fine, but you have to find the bass player because I'm not gonna go looking for it." So I'm like, "Okay." So I went to this party and I see Joe. He's super hammered. He barely even knows what year it is. And I'm like, "Hey man, it's been a while. What's going on?" Told him I'm in a band and everything. And I'm like, "Hey, you still play bass, yeah?" And he's like, "Yeah, I haven't played in a couple years, but yeah, I still play." And I'm like, "Well, look it. I'm the bass player right now. I don't want to be the bass player. They said I have to find a bass player. Just let's get you an audition. Let's get you playing bass, and they'll love it. I promise." So he came over to my house, showed him all the lines, and he came to the rehearsal, knew every single one of their songs on bass, and that was it. They're like, "He's hired." And so that helped our friendship because now that we're rekindled, we have to, be together all the time.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
just really stemmed from there to where it's just like now we're just inseparable. We couldn't ever think about not playing music
yeah.
together.
It's almost like, I don't know, God's tapping us on the shoulder. He's trying to tell us we belong together. So,
It was definitely a fate situation. It was one of those
yeah,
really
yeah.
lucky situations like, holy shit, this was meant to happen.
And another great tune I love off the album is "You Win Again." I mean, it's just a great kind of good time sounding
That's
song.
his favorite song.
Good rock song. But I like kind of the sentiment of it. You win again because let's be honest, who doesn't enjoy winning or coming out on top? And it's just a great celebratory song.
Yeah, I mean it's just a normal story about you fighting with your significant other. And of course, my dad used to tell me, you got to pick and choose your battles. Do you always
Yeah,
want to be
yeah,
right? Or sometimes to keep the peace, just shut up, say you're sorry, even though you didn't do anything wrong, and just let them win. Just let them win again.
yeah.
And
Are
so it's just
you?
kind of one of, those mind things like we're fighting all the time, but you know what? I'm not even going to push it. You win again. That's it.
Yeah, it's typical. I
Moving
mean,
on.
typical guy will tell you like, just say yes, dear. Everything will be all right.
I'm married, man. I know the lifestyle.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So have you guys got a chance to play outside the local area? Have you gone to other states or anything?
Yeah, we have done that. 2026 is going to be a lot more of that. We're really trying to push to get out more towards Midwest, South, and East Coast because, let's be honest, I don't like to label us as classic rock. I don't like to call it classic rock, but you could tell there is that
Very good.
definite vintage modern kind of influence. So that type of rock and roll, people in the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, the South, like the East Coast, they really, really love that kind of music more than Southern California.
Sure.
So as much as we're, SoCal kids, like we definitely want to get more out and about that way because I think our momentum will pick up a lot more like wildfire out there because they really, really love that kind of music.
Yeah, it's funny because even you go outside of the country, to other countries, I hear like a lot of those fans, they're much more loyal, like metal fans.
Oh
They're
yeah.
into their music. A lot of times I hear like Japanese people, um, they speak primarily Japanese. A lot of them, they don't really understand the lyrics, but they get down with the music. They enjoy it just as much as if they did, understand what you were singing about. But that's true. But I think where you guys are at too, there's definitely you got that classic rock sound, but where I think a lot of people that got that classic rock sound, they tend to kind of sound like very heavily 70s influence, which is interesting to me about your music. You sound like kind of like there I grew up. You sound like you got some of the songs sound like they're from maybe 80s rock, some could be
Hmm.
70s rock. And
Little
so
mix of everything.
little mix of everything, like you said. I think if people would open their minds and give the music a chance, I think they would dig it, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, we just love writing. We love being in the studio. We love pushing the envelope every time. I mean, if you listen to our first album, Chemical Sunsets, you could tell we were kind of like still searching for our sound. And
Yeah.
then Bite the Bullet is where we definitely came
Found the
into our
sound.
own. It's like we've kind of like narrowed it in. We definitely know that's the route we're going to go. We plan on starting to work on a new record at the beginning of the year. So who knows
Great.
what's going to happen with that one.
You know, it's kind of like I'll tell you guys this from my own experience of being a rock fan. I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan, and
Yes, sir.
I came across his second album. I think it's called "Pretty's for You,"
Yep.
and it was very surprising sound because it sounded more like a psychedelic album, you know, coming out in the 1960s than classic Alice Cooper. And come to find out, Alice Cooper really found his sound on the next album, "Love It to Death," when Bob Ezra took over as his producer and really kind of found that Alice sound.
Yeah. I would have to say, like, as much as I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan, I got to meet him one time when I lived in Hollywood a long time ago. Super, this is like one of the nicest guys ever.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
hear.
but I would have to say, I would definitely have to say, man, it's really hard to beat Billion Dollar Babies. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like I feel like their first few albums, they were still trying to find their sound,
yeah, that's what
and
I'm
I
saying.
feel
Yeah,
like Bob Ezrin really killed it on Billion Dollar Babies. I think it's when he finally dialed them in. If you really look at the song title on that album, there's like 5 hit singles
yeah,
on that album, and then all the other song fillers are still badass.
yeah, yeah,
And he plays like half that album. I've seen him live once at the Greek Theater. Amazing. And I was hoping because the last song on that album's I Love the Dead.
yeah,
And when he does that song, it does that whole puts himself in the guillotine, all that. So
yeah.
I was like really hoping he did it, and he did. He did I Love the Dead, and he did the whole guillotine thing, and it was just
I
phenomenal.
seen Alice Cooper for the last time. It was would have been like 2 years ago at the Orange County Fair. Man, at
Hell
his
yeah.
age in the mid 70s, man, he still puts on a killer rock show.
And he still sounds good. Like he still sounds like he's in his 20s. His voice hasn't gotten old, you know what I
I
mean?
think it's
Like,
because he quit drinking like 30 years ago and hasn't picked it up since. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I, it's nice to see people like him and Neil Young and Steven Tyler who still have their voice.
yeah.
It's sad with certain people that you could tell like they've aged a little bit.
Coverdale, yeah, yeah.
You know, like Elton John doesn't sound like he did in the 70s. It's good, but
Well, see,
it's not the
Elton John,
same.
from what I understand, he has some other health issues, which is why he's not able to play live anymore. But you know,
Yeah.
he had a good career, and you know he's got those classic songs. I'm sure he's making a ton of money off those songwriting royalties. You know.
Well, his new album that Andrew Watt just did, they just released it with Brandy Carlisle, but
Yeah.
his new album's fantastic. Like he's the thing I like about Andrew Watt is he's my age.
Uh-huh.
And just like me, I could tell that he's a big rock historian and he's very appreciative of all those artists. And now that he's getting this opportunity on working with these guys, if you really listen to all these albums, you can tell that he respects the history and
Yeah.
legacy. Like the Stones, you hear a little bit of Exile on Main Street, you hear a
Sure.
little bit of Tattoo You and Some Girls. You could tell that he really wanted to respect the whole legacy. And how do you fit the whole legacy of the Stones in 10 songs?
Yeah, he can.
And you could, and just like that, because if I was producing those albums, I would be trying really hard how to bring out the elements to respect the legacy. But he wrote a badass rock and roll song for Elton John's new album, and it's sick, and it gives Elton John that like Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting kind of like kick ass kind of like stigma again. And
For sure.
right now, a lot of people don't know this, so maybe you might not know this either. But
For
right
sure.
now, he's in the studio with Paul McCartney working on the new McCartney record.
Oh, I can't wait for that. And of course, Andrew Watt, anybody who's know, he worked on the last few Ozzy albums, produced that,
Dude,
played guitar on
he's
that.
gonna make Paul sound so fucking good, and it's just like because I wasn't a big fan of Paul's last record in 18, Egypt Station. I just felt like it wasn't that great of an album. I thought he did a better album during COVID when he was stuck at home when he did McCartney
Well, you
3.
know, I mean, the guy's had, you know, he's had like a 50+ year career. He's like still rocking at 80 years old, whatever it is now. He still looks as young as ever, you know.
I just think he needs something fresh to go in
Yeah.
the studio with, and I think Andrew Watt is that fresh sound. And the cool thing with Andrew is Paul McCartnney plays bass on one of the Stone songs on the new Hackney Diamonds record.
Oh, okay.
Bite My Head Off. That's Paul McCartney on bass with
Oh,
that fuzz
wow.
bass. But that meeting only happened because when Andrew knew that Paul McCartney was coming in the studio, we would all be just shitting our pants like, oh my
Yeah, yeah.
God, I'm about to meet Paul. I'm about to meet a Beatle. Like, what do I do? So the cool thing was he bought Paul McCartney a Hofner bass, but he changed the pickups out in it and he put like some like fuzz pickups. So the bass naturally has like that fuzz sound.
Oh, how
And he
cool.
gave it to him as a present. And Paul used that bass on the actual song, but that kind of like
Huh.
started that relationship a
How
little
cool is
bit.
that?
It's
Let me
so
ask
cool,
you guys
man.
before we wrap it up. How can people like get your music? Is it only available like on YouTube? The street? Can they get physical copies?
Right now we're about to start launching our vinyl for Bite the Bullet.
Okay.
But right now, Spotify, definitely go to Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, like anywhere major you can find music, we're there. Just Kings of Karma. There's not many
And
bands
let me ask
called
you
that.
guys,
So.
are you independent artists? Are you signed to a label?
We're independent still. Like we're looking for labels and stuff like that. But Joe and I have been in this business long enough to where we're really picky about who we're gonna allow to help build our empire with us. So we are in the search,
Yeah, yeah, and
but
I will reach out to you guys, after this. But the reason I was asking is, I might be able to refer you somewhere if you were interested.
Yeah, we're down to
we're always
talk.
in. We're trying to build an empire. So however we can get that and what team we can use to build it, that's our goal.
Okay, and anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up for tonight, Joe?
I just want to say thank you for having us, man. It's been awesome. Great show. Super stoked, man. Thank you.
And to wrap it up, the best thing I can really say to you guys, and to really encourage people to go out and check out, your music, and the latest album, "Bite the Bullet," is I knew nothing about your band until your publicist Jody sent me the press release. And like I said, in preparation to do this, I like to know what I'm talking about.
Of
I went
course.
and listened to the music, and I was an instant fan. And it's especially the latest album. I would say it's not an album where it just got like the one hit single. I mean, all the tracks really kick ass. I urge people to check it out.
That's what I tell people. I mean, listen to our new album. There's just 11 bangers on it. You know.
That's probably the toughest thing you're going to have to do when you do sign with the label is which one is going to be the next single,
I think our abilities as songwriters, our abilities as live entertainers, we fit the bill just as much as Dirty Honey or anybody out
For
there right
sure.
now. It's just a matter of just getting the exposure. And I think once people finally find out who we are, including the industry, I think they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, we got to get on this."
And let me ask you before we really wrap it up, do you guys have any special plans for Halloween tomorrow?
Take the kids trick or treating.
Yeah, we got babies still,
Rock and
so we
roll
got
dads. There you go.
we
Yep.
don't we only get so much time. We usually play on Halloween, but now that we're dads, you only get a little bit of time with them until they're like 12 and they're like, "Can I go hang out with my friends?" It's like, "Oh."
Unfortunately, we got to play a Halloween party on Friday,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
we play Halloween parties usually right before Halloween, so we
hey,
did
hey,
that.
hey, do the kids ever come to your show, or are they too young?
It did. I mean, we play a lot of 21 and plus, but there
Oh,
are
okay, there you
times where
go.
our
Yeah.
kids get to show up and see us. Our kids are stoked, you know.
Okay, well, you guys, it was great getting to know you, Joe and Chris, and I definitely have
Thanks,
you
man.
guys back. So keep that in mind. Next time you have anything you're promoting, we'd be glad to have you back. Okay, and
Awesome, man. We appreciate you and everything you do.
thanks. We're gonna post this later tonight, so I'll be sure to send you the link. Okay,
Thank you so
perfect.
much.
take care. Bye bye.